Michelle at a Global Speaker Federation board meeting. I had the opportunity of being next to her, sitting next to her, and it was love at first sight. The minute we started speaking, I found out, Michelle was not only a bright person, but also a person with a huge heart. So we started talking. He said, I would like to go to Mexico sometime. So we organized that. She came to Mexico back in October. She presented an incredible conference here. It was all about, VIP. And by the way, I have to tell you, she wrote this amazing book, which I really love, and you should all get it. It is really fantastic. We also had the opportunity to meet with clients. And about what she does, she lives right now in a town outside of Sydney, Australia. She established her research and training company in around 1994, building a business that has evolved over the years to employ a large team and long-term clients in various industries, especially in the hospitality industry. Now, Michelle is a certified speaking professional. She has been a member of the Professional Speakers Australia for over 20 years. She speaks on stages all over the world, and today she is here with us via Zoom. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being with us today. I will ask everybody, please, to take off your cameras so we can all look at you, Michelle, and be concentrated on you. So if you can please mute yourselves and put off your cameras so we can be focused on our superstar tonight, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And thank you everybody in Mexico for having me there this evening. It's wonderful to be able to celebrate two birthdays, both in Mexico and here in Sydney. So that must mean double margaritas. So thank you once again for having me. I'm going to share my screen now. So I'll be showing a few slides, but tonight you're joining me in relation to the brand audit. How does your brand, how is it represented? How do your customers and your prospective customers see you? But how does your team also be part of that brand? For many of you, you may be CEOs, senior managers, maybe your own business. And you may have a small, even a virtual team or a very large team. You have goals and you have vision and you have values. And that is all part of your brand. And you need your team to be a part of that brand. That is where it is absolutely key. So but I'm going to touch a little bit on our generations, because we've got 5 to 6 generations now in our workplace, but also as our customers, depending on our business. And then look at those and then go into the actual brand audit that I would like you to consider for your business. Now, I am going to be open for questions at the end, so I won't open the chat box as yet because it will distract me, because I love talking and I love reading. So we'll please put your questions in there, and I know Victoria will help me with those. But let's kick it off, because it's 7 p.m. there where you are, and I'm sure you'd like to get into it. So here we go. I'll share the screen. Please let me know that you can see this, and we will begin. So, yeah, perfect. So here am I, my journey. See, when it comes to the brand experience, it's all about the emotion, isn't it? It's more than just that interaction or that transaction. It's about that connection. And something that you will recognize here on my screen at the moment is my beautiful time that I spent with Victoria in your beautiful country in Mexico City in October last year. Now, for all of you, at some point in your life, you have had a road trip somewhere, whether it be across your country, you visited another country, it could even be across town. At different times of your life, there'll be a road trip it really sticks in your mind. Can you just think about that for a moment? Just think, what made that road trip spring to your mind? Was it the people that you met? Was it the people that you traveled with or the person that you traveled with? Was it what you traveled in? Was it the food that you saw? The plane trip as you came into the city? Was it that going past the dusty roads and small towns? Was it the gas station or that little shop that you bought that one special souvenir that you still treasure? See, our memories are there, that are created through the experiences that we have, and they live with us forever. Yes, in photos, and they can bring back those experiences, but it also could be a music on a television commercial. It could be just the smelling something or hearing or seeing something that takes us back to that experience. And that's how I want your customers to remember your business. What is the recognition that they have that immediately they go, I need to go back to you. You were the person that made the difference, providing me the product, whatever the service might have been. So it's critical to think of that link between the heart and the head. It's very much connected. And when it comes to the customer experience, it is all about the heart. That's what keeps it a memory. So as I said, I'd like to have a quick look through the various generations. We've got 5 generations of customers, but you may have 6. You may, there are still our older generation and there are our little baby alphas. So please allow me to permit myself to show these to you here. It's through research of my own and others over the last 20 years, having a large mystery shopping company. I've had the fortunate pleasure of working with teams in the same room that have aged from 18 to 82. And all the ages in between, and all the customers that they serve in all these generations. So in each of these slides, I'm going to show you some tips and strategies about the team member as well as your customer. And I want you to think, and even though these are generalizations, and there may even be some that you may disagree with, or you'll be nodding your head at some point, identifying whether it's you or your team member or your customer, please join me. So as I said, there are those that were born pre to 1945. They're our oldest living, no matter where they are in the world, and they are, majority of them are well into retirement. For a customer experience, they are looking for that personal attention. That's what your brand is offering them, is it not? So they want things to be just that little bit slower, that little bit of personal attention, not rush, 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 explaining it to them. If you do have some of these amazing people in your team, what they're looking for is the choice to actually work. As I said, I had a team member I was working with a very large client last year who was 82. She'd worked in this restaurant for over 40 years. And she was the most amazing lady, and the knowledge that she could share. So you may have somebody in your team such as that. Then there are our baby boomers, roughly 46 to 64. They've got money to spend. I'm in this group. I'm actually a cusp up between this and Gen X. They're very optimistic. We call them the grey nomads here in Australia because they're everywhere in our roads with their RVs and caravans. They may be the same in Mexico, but they have money to spend. But what they don't have is time. So when they're your customer interacting with your brand, you need to value their time. Give them options, give them choices, guide them because they want to make the ultimate decision. But with your brand, they want you to show them the journey. If they are in your team, or perhaps it's even yourself, it's giving them the opportunity to retire on their terms. They may not want to be retiring straight away. They may choose to have one day a week off, or have a week off every 2 months. So it's negotiating and having conversations with these people that will certainly connect them, because remember, if you've connected with your team and you have them on this journey and believing and living and breathing your goals and your vision for your brand, then the work is done, because they will then project that on to your customers. Then we have Gen X, 65 to 81. I call these the club sandwich generation. And some of you may be in this or have team members that are, or perhaps even siblings. Why I call them club sandwich is because for many of them, they are now caring for aging parents. They still have the Gen Y children perhaps at home, and now they're looking after their grandchildren on their one day off. Now, I have two beautiful grandchildren, 7 and 4, and I love them dearly, but I do need my time because I'm running a business, I'm having webinars, and as much as I love them, unfortunately, although I should say my family are very good, I know many others that their family now expect them to spend their every waking moment looking after their grandchildren while they're at work or perhaps on holidays. Maybe this might be, you may be nodding your head here. It's a very interesting generation because they've always been seen as one generation that will earn less than the generation before and the one after. So when they come into your business, whether it's a service or product, they are highly skeptical. And why? Because they lost trust. We had that massive global financial crisis a number of years ago, not the last one, but the one before, and it was so big that many of these people in this generation lost their jobs for no reason. They had to eat into their savings, perhaps the superannuation, that money that they can put aside with the government, and they had to take on roles that was less than what they had left on. So they are still having to work a lot longer than they ever had to. So when they come into your business, oh my goodness, they have Googled it to death, because everybody's got one of these, don't they? The cell phone. And they have Googled your business. They know all about it. They know where that product is on that shelf. They know every service that you deliver. And they're going to tell you because they don't trust you. So when they are a customer, your brand has to start right from the very start, back on the website, the advertising, that they start building that trust. So when they do come to you, oh my goodness, you are going to have to work very hard to build the trust, to gain their trust. But once you do, oh, they'll be loyal to your brand forever and amazing advocates for your business. Because as I said, they Google everything and they're extremely skeptical because, yes, they've been, they've lost out in the past. So when they're that customer, they're looking for choice. They're looking for independence because they want to choose. As a team member, they are very special for your business. They may be the staff member who actually may agree with what you're wanting to do with your brand and your business, but because you haven't explained it to them in depth. See, they're not just one to stand in a staff meeting and you just say it to all. They want to have a one-on-one conversation, because the last time they stood in a staff meeting like this, perhaps they were told they'd lost their job. So they're the staff member. Even though they may agree, they will make disparaging comments to customers. Oh, it's all about the boss. They just want to make more money. Or I don't think it's going to be work. We've done that before. You know people like this, don't you? Maybe, hopefully they're not in your team. But there are these people. But if you can extract them from the team and have that one-on-one conversation, they will believe in where you're taking your brand and they will share it with the team. So they're looking for that trust and they're looking for that security from you. Then we have our Gen Ys. Now I've got 3 children, 2 Gen Ys and a Gen Z, and I love them. Why? Because I love Gen Y, because they ask questions. They broke many of the sacred cows we had in our businesses for so long because nobody ever said to us, why are you doing this in your business? Why is your brand looking like that? Has your brand actually changed with the generations? See, one business that I believe truly that has taken up their brand along the generational journey is McDonald's. When Gen Y were little, you had McDonald's parties. Now, I can't see you all here or hear you, but I'm sure if you put in that chat box, did you have a McDonald's birthday party for your children or grandchildren? Where the Hamburglar and Ronald McDonald, and they'd all be screaming, and you take your children to be on this high of sugar for hours afterwards. So they had that McDonald's. But then this generation grew up, didn't they? They wanted coffee. They wanted a cafe experience. So they brought in barista-made coffees, nice little slices and banana bread and toasted sandwiches. And then they wanted burgers on a board. Did you have that in Mexico? I know the many places I've traveled in Europe and America certainly did, and here in Australia, you were given a number. Take a seat. This is a takeaway restaurant. But you were given a number, you sat at your seat, and they came across with this board with your burger on it. It didn't always look like it should in the amazing photography, but it was there. And then we got rid of that. And now everything is just touch screen, isn't it? I don't particularly like touch screens because I'm a fusspot. I don't like pickles. I don't like mustard. I don't like what are those other things? Oh, different sauces they have on the chicken things. So I like to really make mine so customized like these Gen Ys do. And this is what McDonald's have done. Even though you are now ordering on a board, and I'm finding it a bit tricky, it's perfect for this group because they love to customize everything. From your brand, they expect you to come to them where they are when they want you. If you own a restaurant, these people are your chef's nightmare. And yes, you will still stand there out the front smiling and thinking to yourself, if you didn't want half the ingredients, why did you come out for dinner? But we all smile and we change our menus for them. But it's very interesting. As customers, that's what they're expecting from your brand. As a team member, they're expecting flexibility from you. Because this is a generation that truly will be advocating your brand if you get them on your side, particularly your team. Many years ago, I had a client who, large venue, large casino, wanted to start having some entertainment. But how was he going to get it out there on social media? He was a baby boomer. He didn't have a Facebook page. So he engaged his Gen Ys in his team and said to them, how about you tell your friends the entertainment we're having on Friday night? And wow, he gave them a picture of the team, of the band. He wrote something about it, and they just spread like wildfire because they were able to send the message out to their connections that connected his brand to them, people he would have never been able to connect to because he was able to work with his team and that age group. So they're looking for that flexibility. They're waiting for you. They're not going to do the 7 steps to leadership as perhaps many of you have done and are doing. They believe that they can do it. And you know what? Some of them may well do it. But they don't always have the experience and the maturity, but that all comes in time, and it doesn't perhaps take as long as it did for many of us because we had to go through all these steps. So they're looking for flexibility from you as a leader and as a CEO and a business owner, but they can really drive your brand, particularly if you can customize it. And then we've got our gorgeous Gen Zs, 95 to 2009. This is my little princess, and I know Victoria has her two daughters are in this generation. They are cyber savvy influencers, not just to be influenced, but influencers. You will find them 3/4 of the time looking at this little screen. They trust this. This is everything to them. They connect with newspapers, social media, people, teams, your customers. So don't ever underestimate them. Many businesses do. Many brands are ignoring this group who have a phenomenal spending power. They influence many households and they influence their friends. They ask each other. If your brand resonates with this group, you only need a few to become advocates, and wow, you may have already experienced it. They influence many, but they're looking for that seamless experience. And particularly during COVID, we've seen over the last few months globally, Zoom has gone mad, and so has online shopping. Click, click, oh, ding dong, and it's at the front door. Now, I've never been a big online shopper, but I know my two daughters and my daughter-in-law, and particularly this generation. They want that seamless experience. So is your brand offering them that seamless experience? Or are you getting them to ring up and go through 3 different people? Are you getting them to go on the website and they see this, and when they go to order it, it's not available? And then you don't even give them another option? Or do you get them to purchase something online through your business, and then it takes days, weeks, and even longer to receive it, and you haven't even connected with them to tell them what's happening with their product? You will be absolutely, they will never promote your business. They will never support your business again, and they will make it very loud and clear. You have to be absolute frictionless and seamless to them. Click a button and it's at the door. They come to your business, they want to be welcomed by that person at the front door, or seen by yourself, or provided this service at that counter, and they just want to have that individual attention, but to have somebody who connects with them. As I said, a lot of businesses and a lot of brands are underestimating this group. And they also are getting very much back into what we had in the past, in the 70s and the 80s. You know, sometimes my daughter buys jeans and I think, oh my goodness, I had those jeans back in, 1979 or 1981. And so, don't always think your brand is just for a particular generation. You may have had opportunities over these last few months to pivot or think of what other generations and people that you can connect with. And then, of course, if they are working in your team, they are seeking knowledge and wisdom from you. For many of this generation, they have a very high university payment that they have to pay back, or you do as family, as parents or loved ones. But they are all, they are great with academics. They can read it in a book. But what they want from you, and this is where it's really important, if this is your business or you're a leader in the organization, is when they come for that initial interview, you tell them about your brand. You tell them about why you started this journey. Don't just give them, oh, well, this is what we do and this is what we sell. No, they want to know from you, your wisdom. How do you connect with them? That they become a true advocate, that they then choose your workplace because it's a workplace of choice. Oh, there is no better brand ambassador than to have a team member. How many of you perhaps have a business that's in fashion and your staff don't always wear what's on your shelves? Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may have had this experience yourself where you've gone into a lovely store, you've seen the team member in a particular outfit and said, oh, love that. Where do I get that from? And they go, oh, no, I didn't buy this from here. No, I got this down the shop down the road. What's that saying? What's that saying about them that they're not buying from the business that they're in, but they're actually now promoting someone else. So you, if you really like that outfit, go, okay, thanks for that, and you go next door. So you have to think about this. With this group, if you can share your wisdom, share your knowledge, have them being part of the team and being listened to, they are an amazing generation to be with, have as brand ambassadors as well as brand in your team. Then we have our gorgeous little alphas. Now, as I said, I've got 2 grandchildren, 7 and 4. They're in this generation, and you may have them. This is a shorter time frame, only 14 years. It's smaller than baby boomers, but there's going to be more of them. They are strong household influences, and if you don't believe me, just think about it. If you've got children or grandchildren like this, or a customer, how do they influence you when you want to go out for dinner? How do they influence you when you want to go out and buy a new lounge? They do, don't they? And there are some businesses that have really connected with this. A couple of years ago, I was staying at the Ritz-Carlton in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. And as I arrived at the beautiful counter and had this gorgeous girl with beaming smile welcoming me, I saw a couple come in behind me, and they had 2 small children, and they started to get a little bit fidgety, as all children do. And then I noticed, here is the counter at our adult height, and just down from me, the counter lowered down to a child's height. So the children could then go and stand at that counter where they had colouring in, they had clay for them to, actually it wasn't clay, it was a pizza dough, so they could make shapes out of it. So while mum and dad or other customers like me were being served, the children were being happy because they realised that their brand offered a family holiday on the website to families. So they wanted to create that first experience when they walked in their hotel, that yes, this is a family hotel. We're not just saying it on the website, we're actually making your children feel like they're a part of this. So it's interesting, isn't it? All those generations. Now let's look at your brand. It must be absolutely relevant to your customers of today and to your customers of tomorrow. And for those that perhaps even in the past that haven't seen you for a while, when you pop up to them, remember it's that head and heart connection, that they go, yes, I remember them. And you may well be relevant to them now. So you can't just pigeonhole people because of the generation or the gender or the likes or the don't likes. You can be something for many. You can't be something for everybody unless you're probably, I don't know, a clothes hanger that you hang your clothes on. That's about the only thing everybody must use at some time in their lives. Although there's probably some of you thinking your children don't all those, they always seem to end up on the floor. But for many of you, you can't be everything to everyone. So it's great to tailor your brand, but don't, you can niche it down. Yes, and I know I have done that over the last 26 years in business. However, I've also opened it up to virtual webinars like this, to not having to travel, to be able to get to a broader audience. So you may be able to do that with online. I know I've put all my mystery shopping audits online through Shopify. If you'd asked me this time last year, would you, Michelle, have a Shopify store? No way. Because I loved my connection with people. But I realise now, and thank you to COVID in that way, that I was able to expand my knowledge, but also expand my customers. So is your brand relevant at the moment? Or perhaps is it still in the past and you haven't really explored who else would love to know about you? Because it's only as good as your reputation, isn't it? Oh, we've all seen these on Facebook or any form of social media, and we know that we can market and spend a lot of money on marketing, but it only takes a word of mouth from somebody, or for somebody to put a critical review, that people will see that. And you know what? Sometimes you don't even know that it's there. Yes, you may be on TripAdvisor, or people make a review about your business on your Facebook page or other social media. But there are so many review platforms, as I said, that you may never have even known. So it's absolutely critical that you do your best when you connect with your customers. And you may not be able to make everybody 100% happy all the time, because there are some people, let's face it, there are some customers you could do anything and everything and they still won't be happy. However, you have got to keep trying. And that's what you need to share with your team. You cannot allow a bad experience with one customer infect your whole team, or to have somebody in your team that is a skunk and doesn't believe in your brand and shares that with everybody else, because your reputation is critical. Now, if you are a business that perhaps is a chain or a franchise, or you're known to sell a product with your end users, so you may have the best experience that you provide to your customers. However, if a customer has had an experience with that brand at another store or at another chain of your hotel, maybe not even in the same city or the same country, that when they hear about your brand, that's what they remember, that last experience. And it wasn't even you. So that's why it's so important to ensure that your brand, your reputation is out there, that they connect with you. They see you. They see your people, your team. And that the brand is there, yes, and it's important, because for some people, you know, they may Google a brand and they want to know the closest store or the closest hotel or the closest lawyer that they can find that specializes in that particular product or service. So therefore, you know, your name will come up through, you know, many Google sites, but that's where you've got to stand out as a brand. You can't allow your brand to be spoken for from somebody else who doesn't know you personally and is not in your business where you're delivering this product or service. So what are the key elements that appeal to customers to buy from you? Now, I've just got some ideas up here, and you know, we've got value for money. Could that be one? Actually, I might even, I can't open my chat box at the moment, but what are the key elements? Is it value for money? Friendly and enthusiastic service? I hope so, no matter what you're selling. Close to home or work? Range of products, easy access, consistency. Oh, that's the biggest thing on your customer's journey in your brand. If it's not consistency, they will leave. Have you ever been somewhere you've had an amazing experience and you've shared it and told others to go there? And then when you do catch up with that friend or that business associate, you go, how was it? How did you enjoy it? And they go, well, I don't know what you were raving about because my experience was dreadful. And you think to yourself, I'm never going to recommend anybody ever again. And that's where your brand now goes, that gives you that on the social media because of that lack of consistency. So we're talking about breaking industry stereotypes. I want you to take a really broad, and we don't have time today because normally this is like a half-day workshop, but if you think about your breaking the industry stereotypes, I want you to look at what the experience is in your industry. What does the customer see? What do they feel? What's the person serving? What's their image? What's the branding in the business? I want you to look at all of those. Do it with your team if you've got it, because it's really cool. And then I want you to think about your business. Put it on a whole new different sheet of paper, because you've got to break those industry stereotypes. Because unless you're something really, really, really special, there's more than just you out there that's selling that product or that service. So you want to be different to the others. It doesn't matter how much money you spend in marketing. If you don't break those industry stereotypes, then you're not going to be different to anybody else. It's thinking about who are those people in your team, because they are your brand. Even if it's a virtual assistant or it's somebody who's ringing up on behalf of your business, they are your team. Who is in your team? How are they creating the expectations for your customers? Because you as a leader, you need to know who is in your team, and they need to know that you're supporting them. The biggest thing that we find with complaint handling through all these expectations and the delivery of the service and how they feel afterwards is we do have customers that complain or maybe want to make a suggestion. And some, unfortunately, see you and your team as servants, not providers of a service, but actually servants. And they're really rude to your frontline team or even to yourselves. But that's where we have to ensure, as being leaders, that we support them, that we show our team resilience, we give them tools on how to handle it. Because if your team are passionate about your brand like you are, they will take it personally when somebody makes a complaint. So it's really important to see who's in your team and how you can connect with them. So what are your customers' expectations? How do they see your business beforehand? What is your brand saying about you on the website? Are you saying, for instance, we're open 24 hours a day, or from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5? Is your website up to date? Are your testimonials up to date? Is your COVID practices up to date? People want to know what's happening now. Too often, you or somebody has created an amazing website and haven't looked at it for a long time. That's your brand connection. What is your telephone? Yes, people still pick these up and make a call. What's your on hold message? What does the person say? Have you listened to your on hold message? Have you listened to the message that you've left on your mobile phone? You probably did that quite a while ago. It might have been quite a number of years, and your voice might have changed. You might have different products or services. Remember, this is your brand. You're creating the expectation. If you have signage on your car, is it still relevant for your business? Are the phone numbers correct? Are you a very good driver in Mexico City? Now, I know when I was with Victoria, I'm a good driver here in Australia, but I got a little bit shaky in Mexico when you all just seem to merge, and so polite. We do a lot of blowing of horns here in Australia. But, you don't want to be the screaming car driver and then on your side of your paddle of your car, you're advertising your business of your great customer service, and you're screaming abuse out the window to somebody. That's all part of those expectations. It's what your social media are saying about you. And if you are advertising, when they then come in for the experience, are your doors open? Have you changed hours? Have you got a small hand-printed sign, gone home or out for lunch? I don't know about you, but when I'm a customer and I've travelled, I've gotten out of my house or left my place of work, and I've driven or walked, got a train, whatever it might be, to get to you, and I find you're closed, but your website says you're open, I'm not happy. I'm not a happy customer. I'm not even a customer, and I'll never be a customer. So you must ensure that you're delivering what you have promised in your expectations. So your brand, if it has smiling, happy faces on the back of buses or in your social media, please have those people at your business when they come to your business? Don't have them tucked away behind or have the sour person with the sour face. And are you exceeding their expectations? When they leave that door, what are they saying? How are they remembering your business? See, loyalty is through a memorable experience, connecting the head with the heart. And that's what you're wanting to do with your business. So there's open for questions now. Certainly you can contact me at any time. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and see you for a little while. Let me see here. So how are you? And let's look at the chat box. Any questions? So please, you can type away. I know there is a lot in here in Spanish, and I'm sorry.
No worries.
I would love, but I'm sure, Victoria, you can look for those for me. So questions, anybody?
Well, while they are posting their questions, I know, Michelle, you've been in the Speakers Australia Association for more than 20 years.
Yes.
For those speakers that are joining the National Speaker Association Mexico, for those that are thinking about joining, may I ask you, connecting the head with the heart, and I really love what you're saying, what keeps you, 20 years being part of this association, and what would you say to those that are thinking about becoming associates or are already associates?
Yes, look, when I first started when I started my business 26 years ago, I used to speak and train, and I thought I was doing a good job. I got paid for it. But it wasn't until I was asked to come along to PSA, which is Professional Speakers Australia. And I felt like, and I know you hear this, but when I walked in that room, I felt like I belonged. There were people there in that room who loved to share what they knew from their head, but that they connected from their heart. And as speakers, that's what we do. We have the absolute honor and privilege when you stand on that stage, whether it's in real life or whether it's this on a screen virtually, people are giving you their time. You as a speaker respect that time. It is an absolute honor and a privilege. And therefore, when you be part of this Professional Speakers Association, you're a part of an organisation that will be there to support you, but has very high ethics. You know how to build a business. It's not just about the speaking part. It's the technology. It's the sharing of that model. How to do just more than speaking, training, workshops such as this, live or virtual. Being part of the NSA Mexico would not only be prudent, be wise for you to be that, to meet others and to share their journeys and to not reinvent the wheel. But it also gives you credibility when it comes to sharing your wisdom, as I said, on the stage or virtually with your existing customers and your team, but also the customers in the future. So please take a look at NSA Mexico. I know Victoria and her council are very wise. They want to share their wisdom, but you are also part of the Global Speakers Federation that I've had a privilege to be on the board now for the last 2 years, where I represent PSA, the whole association. So you're part of that. You're not just part of Mexico or America, you're part of all of us. And there are over 16 countries and thousands of speakers just like you. So yes, I'd love you to join, and happy to have discussions with you after this. Today I'm on email if you'd like to ask me anything about that.
Thank you so much for that. And some people were asking about TX, and what does TX mean? Can you
I'm sorry. That was TX was the team experience. And the CX was the customer experience. Oh, sorry, that was my timer to tell me the time was up, so I didn't, because I like to talk. So TX is the team experience, and that's where your brand goes across both.
Fabulous. Now we have a question here from Francisco, and he says, how we could know that that kind of customer we treat by social media. So, what kind of customers do we find in social media? Sometimes we just see the name, but we don't know what generation they are, what they like. So what is your advice?
Yes. So in that way, that's right, you don't know who that person is out there, but what you do know is your brand. So you've got to think to yourself, who do I want as a customer? Who is my ideal customer? And create that avatar. I'm sure you've heard about this, and I know Victoria has an amazing program of avatars, but it is all about that ideal customer avatar. You create them. Who do you want to buy? Who is going to benefit from your product and for your service? And then that's who you write that social media for. Because when you write it for Joan, who's a 49-year-old woman, or Barry, who is a 18 or 65, or, Cleo, who's, when you know who that person is, and that's what you write your branding, marketing to, then they'll see it. You won't have to do anything. They will see that social media because it's targeted at them. And then they will connect with you. But that's when, if you promise them that, that's what's lured them in, then you have to create that experience and then that evaluation at the end, that they love you. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have another question. It's in Spanish. I'll try to translate the best way possible. It says, from Juan Gomez. Thank you, Juan. Our companies have clients of all generations. Everyone has their own expectations. So what is the best way to integrate those expectations to satisfy as much as possible all the clients?
Look, if you've got multiple generations, as many of my clients, as much as I do, this is where you have to train your team to acknowledge that particular generation, to be aware of what their expectations are. Remember, slow down the pace, give them the choices, share your wisdom, be that savvy influencer. It's important that you identify them and your team knows how to handle them. Because you're right, you can't have that same, oh, hi there, fun loving, to one group, because there'll be an older group and it'll go, what is she on? So you know who your audience are, you know who your customers are, then be relevant to them. But you've got to have your team on board.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, Michelle. We have another question from Jose Luis, and he says, how do you get to the boomer? More so because we are now looking at so many ways of communicating and technology. So how do we get to boomers?
How do you get to them? I said they've got a lot of money. Is your product relevant to them? As I said, time, that's what they don't have on their time. They want to bring back their memory. Now, I bought a gorgeous little VW, a Volkswagen Beetle, a number of years ago. That was manufactured in Mexico. Only probably about, let me think, probably 8 years ago now. And it was when they first came back. Now, even though I wasn't in that older generation of boomers, I remember these little Beetles because my mum had one. And it gave me so much joy that I bought this gorgeous Beetle, even though it was totally different from Mexico, but it brought me back to my youth. And so that's what that generation are looking for. They don't want to be dressed up and look like, these young teeny boppers. They want something from their youth. So many businesses can reconnect with them on that. But yeah, it's understanding who they are and what they're wanting, and ask them questions, what they're seeking.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. And how do you know you're doing the right thing with your brand?
Well, if they're not, you won't have any business. That's the short of it. Look, I think the thing with branding is, and your brand is, as I said before, try not to be everything to everybody, because you just can't be. You're better at understanding who they are. through mystery shopping, through surveys with your customers. What are they looking for? Put out some ideas to them. You know, you may, maybe not do your thousands of database, but maybe select 20 of you know, different groups and say to them, you know, this is what we're thinking of bringing in. You know, what are your thoughts? You know, just getting their opinions as well would be ideal.
Fabulous. I think, do we have a time for one more question? Because I know
One more question. Have we taken a photo? You'll have to take a photo of all this too.
Oh, absolutely.
All the wonderful faces and wonderful people that we have.
I will ask everybody to put their cameras and sing happy birthday to you again.
Oh, no, it's just the camera side.
No. Yes, while they're doing that, I'm going to ask you the last question. This is from Claudia, and she says, I have a gourmet product. It's new for Mexico. It was tested in Switzerland. It has created a lot of expectations. And she's asking, how do you go, with this new and unknown market? And how do you know what what generation you should go to, because it's very new? Or should it have a different image in Mexico and one in Switzerland? What is your recommendation in that sense?
So if this is a known brand in Switzerland, I would be calling upon them for, perhaps they have some video or testimonials from their clients that you could perhaps use. But I would also seek out and do, and I know Victoria has done this herself in looking at new products, is do a what you call that beta test with your product. Select, perhaps 20 people that maybe friends, business associates, others and speakers, NSA Mexico, that could trial that product for you, and then get their feedback and say to them, I'd like to offer you this product, but I'd like you to, to use it for a number of days or weeks. But in exchange for my wonderful product, I need a video testimonial. Not just a written one, but a video testimonial, because there's nothing better than getting a third-party endorsement. So I would do that and then just put it through social media, but you getting out there in the front of it, your gorgeous face, and saying, this is why I bought this product to Mexico. Because people are buying from you. Not just anybody can hold up a pen. They want to know why you bought this pen to Mexico.
Oh, fabulous. Well, Michelle, this has been an incredible experience. I know your family is wanting to, have a happy birthday with you. So again, happy birthday, Michelle. Thank you so much for being with us. It has been an amazing experience for all of us. And big round of applause.
Thank you very much. I've loved having you all here and being a part of it. And I wish you all very well. And hopefully next year, if not next, come back to Mexico.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Well, take a picture.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care. Connect.
Bye. Take care.